letter C. 1, 2, ready, and 1. Yatsa Mitzrayim, letter C. Can you picture yourself crossing through and wandering the desert? Can you feel the wind support you as you go? Do you hear the cries of those left behind, still hoping for tomorrow? Do you hear the mountain you still have to climb? I'll do that better. That transition, I think we were actually okay on.
It's better, but there's still moments when you guys aren't together, and we're able to kind of push past them because I think we've practiced enough.
That time felt, I hear a little bit of what you're saying about some of that push and pull, but that time was significantly more together.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's not unusual. Sorry.
Yeah, for 36, just one more time. We're having some trouble with like picking up like the can you kind of thing.
Can you pick? Remember, you're going down.
That's what we're having problem.
Can you picture yourself?
Okay, that's the problem.
Dum dum dum.
Dum dum.
Yep.
Can you picture
No.
there?
Can you
Picture
Yourself crossing through and wandering the desert.
Picture yourself. Okay, yeah, we got to go up to the shore.
That's it.
Thank you, Dale.
Can you picture yourself crossing through the wandering the desert?
So friends, we really don't have time to continue rehearsing it, unfortunately. So it's going to be, can you picture yourself crossing through and wandering the desert?
Sure.
Can you feel the wind support you as you go? So this is one of those situations, friends, where we cannot let perfect be the enemy of the good. And I'm telling you that on my end, it does not sound distractingly apart.
I mean, at worst, we wander into the melody is what's happening.
Right? It has the impact, right? It does actually create the moment, even if it's not 100% perfectly together, or like it really, I promise.
I don't have a problem with we're all in the same chord. It's different, not actually on the same beat of the measure. It's another.
Can you picture
No.
yourself?
Can you picture?
Can
Can you picture? That's what we weren't getting.
You're going down to the D.
It'll be make or break when we actually get there, for sure. We're just gonna have to see. We're just gonna have to see. We're gonna have to feel it.
But I'm happy to sit next to you if that.
Absolutely, you're free to sit next to us whenever you want.
You want to move back to that?
Just for that.
Are you cloning yourself, Dale?
Erica, your
I think that would actually be
sweater's
nice.
tucked up in the back.
Yeah, we could use a clone Dale back here, yes.
We could use 2 clone Dales, one here, one there.
What's a clone,
The
Dale?
other thing that I just realized is that I did not have the amplification of my guitar on.
No, but it sounds,
It's
So
an
that
extra
wasn't
Dale to
coming
keep us
through
on
for
pitch.
Ted over there.
it sounds like
That
a
will probably
clone
also,
Dale.
that will make it.
What is
They're
a
not like
clone
they're not
Dale?
like clones.
Look at each other, not a Clydesdale, clone Dale.
It's like a Clydesdale, but it's a clone Dale.
It's a Clydesdale from the clone line.
Yeah, it's just a really small, it's a really small
Small
thing.
Clydesdale.
Really small
But I
Clydesdale.
will have, I realize that
That's what a clone's Clydesdale
that
is.
also had an impact.
So what do you? Oh dear.
So one of the smallest horses.
Genetic engineering gone wrong.
Yeah,
Yet again.
They cloned
I know you
the
guys
Clydesdale.
are trying, it's just that it's not easy to connect over space like
They
that.
cloned the Clydesdale, and that's
And
what
I
happened.
figured as long as we're not thrown off, it's not a big deal, but I was totally at sea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't go with me. If I'm off, go with me.
It's really hard though, you know, because we hear what you're doing and, you know, we don't have monitors or earphones or anything.
Anyway.
Focus
We got
is
it sold
on
out.
one or the other.
You know what? It's sort of harmonious.
Yes, it's definitely not a harmony problem.
It's a kind of,
It's,
it'll work. It'll go.
it's
Which
one
segment? So we got
of
Prince
these
Harry in the
moments that
house.
I was just trying to work. I never get too upset about the world. It's one way or another.
Yes, I mean, whatever, this is just the way that.
I'm only just inundated with it because other people around me.
You're watching the festivities or whatever there are.
Whatever's going on with them. Like, have you heard Princess Diana? Like,
Also,
Well, you know what? I think it's really quite awful that
it's
it's
just
all
one of those
public
things
about
that-
Prince William's mistress.
I don't want to say that
I
it's
don't even
down
know
to
what you're
my other
talking
choirs, but
Yes.
it's the kind of thing where I hear it, I'm like,
Prince
what
William
the, why is that
is
happening? I'm just not used to it.
the son of the king,
So unusual.
and he has a
You know what I
mistress.
mean? Apparently. It's like when you
Well,
hear
what do you mean?
something
Like he's
people
married and
going,
he
"Shut
has
up."
a side
Married to Kate.
All right.
Kate.
We need to
Yes.
go.
They're going to send
it's
some
so
friends
The bottom
someday.
line is this isn't a
It's
professional,
not a professional
Okay.
thing.
so we do
And
have
so
to.
he's having a.
but if there's a section that we need to go over
They're
again
not as
because
classy as
it's
they
like, it
used to
feels
be.
like we're not together, great. The problem is that sometimes, the
Maybe
problem
not.
is
I
that
wouldn't
sometimes
imagine.
we just
They're kind of the
have
worst.
such limits.
Hey, drew off.
No, that's absolutely true.
Well, doing your yoga again, I just been, I took a
Come,
major
tomorrow
fall.
I'm doing yoga for stress
I took a
management.
major fall, I have burned myself big time. I'm not gonna do
And I think you're on the mic.
And then
too.
I
Case, it was
have
having two
sinusitis.
different beats coming in.
I'm teaching in person tomorrow,
And that's hard to ignore.
We'll see.
yoga for stress management.
I'm into stretching. Do you know that
She's
stretch
into
lab is
stretch
coming to
management.
Greenway? Yes, I'm excited. Stretch lab,
Away with
I don't know what that
words.
is.
well, it's
And
new
partly
to
it's
Madison.
because I wasn't
New
here.
to
on
Middleton,
Madison.
and this is the, I just met with her at Perky today.
If I
So
know
I'm all
better,
excited about
I'm
stretch
sure you
lab.
don't have time. You're
And
pulled off the
have a wife
everyone
and two
would like to be stretched.
very active children, you have a job, and you spend a lot of time
Well,
here.
tomorrow there are no
They're
down
called
dogs.
flexology.
Tomorrow there are no down
So
dogs.
I did whirl sometimes when I first came out.
Anything like
Yeah,
that.
I do a lot of other things. I mean, I write a haiku every day.
yeah.
It's a matter of.
Really means
My
I'm
daughter
teaching
knows
solo
how to
Tuesday
do
mornings to my
And
grandson.
there's a way
And how much more
to
time.
automatically send you
24 hours a day.
graphs
Yoga,
I know.
and
your
yoga
word
friend from
to
19
someone.
Surprised me.
from Southern
So I
State
send mine
where
to her, and she sends hers to me, and you have to,
high cancer.
you end up with the same word, and everybody does the same one every day, each day.
And then
But what
back
we
in high school.
Is we take the last word that you ended with the day before, and the words that you selected, and you have to write a little story.
Taiwanese,
Almost like a
American,
haiku.
12th grade. High school.
And then we send each other the
And
stories.
I said, I didn't know.
And they sometimes get very involved. They go on and on, maybe characters or whatever it is. And we
Got my
play,
permit last week. Why
we've
take me?
been sending
I
these to each
said,
other.
sure, I got plenty of experience with that. So we went out to Cedarburg and that was fun too.
She is really
That's where my yoga
Where
training,
does your daughter live?
in New York
that's
City.
where I did my yoga training.
But
It's nice you can connect like that.
Oh,
it is, and then we
Mark and I were on our
occasionally
first
talk to
honeymoon
each
in
other.
Washington.
Outside of World Stories.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we just are having the best time, and we write these sort of long, ongoing, some of them are like
With
fairy
Sharon, I
tales.
didn't see Sharon.
Some of them are
No, I didn't want to
fascinating.
share. Sharon was already here.
Oh,
We just
You
really.
should accumulate them
Well,
for a
I
little
think
book.
they're all in our texts to each other. 'cause we
It's
got
gonna be hard to
text.
extract, but
and I haven't seen it in ages,
You know, I have,
so it's good to see.
anyway,
Do I come out there
having a
and
good
force
time.
Henry, their son, instead of
You know, you
their
can print
grandson
out
is
your
going to
phone
be in
records.
a play there.
You have to send it, like, email
would like to actually read our stories, because I write mine down, because I like to sort of take a look at it as I'm composing. But, the back and forth, because sometimes they are together and writing a single story, and sometimes they have nothing to do with one another. We have a great time.
That's what I was saying, if you get them, you can like bind them just for you. You know, you guys have a little book of the stories you write each other.
I think you're not gonna have time to control.
I was thrown, I guess, by the people that were here earlier.
Yeah,
I was like, oh wow, we already got
yeah, well,
one
that's the
going.
fifth grade something or other.
Fourth
But
and
with,
fifth grade.
with the weather as it is, I think we'll be lucky to have
It's beautiful.
in this. What?
It's just beautiful. Yeah, the roads are
Roads are
perfect.
fine.
It's beautiful, white, and snowy, and blanket outside. Yep, no daycare today. The roads were cleared by 7:30, and I'm like,
Yeah, this year the Madison School District is.
Well, you know, they can go to online, except it's hard for
or
the
they can
parents.
start late. Whatever happened to starting late?
Yeah.
Well,
No kidding.
that's really hard for, well,
Because of us.
early release is even harder.
Okay.
Because they used, back in the day when I was teaching music, so this is a long time ago,
You are so cute.
they would do early release.
In your scarf and your whatever, and then I decided to focus on something. You are really thorough.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. So, I don't know if the Cantor mentioned too, what we're doing during the sermon portion of the service, that he and I are answering questions. And like Rabbi Cantor clergy kind of. Well, if you can ask whatever they want, and if we have an answer, well,
But is there instruction?
Anything we want.
no, well, in the program, we sort of gave some sample questions or whatever. I didn't have a copy of the program either. So you see it's, just to get your minds stimulated and to, ask questions. Well, I was going to say that if you want to participate, come down there, because we're going to be up here. We may not be able to see you directly, but we're going to take questions from people watching online.
Yeah, they are.
So Melissa Osborne is back there. She's monitoring the YouTube page. And so, we tell people if you want, you're monitoring online, that you can, call in, write in, and
Okay, well, I think we might have a video. There are a lot of people.
yeah. I mean,
See, this is more of a Judaism ask questions than a rabbi and cantor ask. So we can't ask like, what do you like to do in your spare time?
I would
That's what I was
probably,
thinking of asking.
I think that,
Would you rather?
Oh, we can play.
And the eight of us.
How long is this? Perhaps we should.
well, I mean,
Maybe clarify a bit.
that may want to wait for a different occasion.
How do you take your coffee?
That I could,
I'd like to go out to dinner.
Already bombarded by questions. You haven't answered a single one.
Is that how people date these days?
That's perfect. Just answer every question with a question.
Okay,
Sorry.
I can't figure that out.
I'm in the right state.
That's true.
What would you say if I said, how many green foods do you eat?
Today, I would say 3 or 2. Not as many as I should have.
Your report will be, your green foods are down
My
like
green food.
Sort of playing snappy answers to stupid questions.
I ate 2.
You don't even know what they are.
Avocado, edamame.
Avocado is not a green food.
How's avocado not a green food?
It is a yellow.
Avocado is yellow.
Avocado is green.
No, it's in this program. It's in this program that we're doing.
Nonsense. It isn't. Yeah,
It's in this program that
somebody was like, no, Dale, avocados are at 7:30. Okay. Let's call our blue, so there's one more blue.
We do have fun. Did you have any idea that you joined this group? There's a bunch of matters in here.
I
Yes, well, good, you got your wish.
They're so nice. You know, that's right.
I'm gonna go start grabbing people off the street.
Shabbat, come on. I got a quorum.
We do, yeah, we got.
No, we actually don't. We need like 300 people.
It's just 10 for Minion.
And we got 8.
Where's my wife? Where's my
Yes, I guess we have a Minion like ourselves.
Yeah, on Bima, we have a Bima minion.
2 minions.
A minion here, a minion there, a minion.
After that, who's going to be
Little mentories everywhere.
Every time you look over there, it's like, kind of like, oh, I gotta be quiet, I gotta be quiet.
Serious.
You ready? Okay. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is so wonderful to see you tonight. We just begin with beautiful, beautiful music. We begin with Shabbat devotion and intention, bringing to this place the offerings of our hearts, desires of our souls, and the friendly faces which most of us can see one another, although let not the masks get in the way. Just begin with music.
The person who wrote this nigun was inspired by years and years of Pesach celebrations in their own family and the lively spirit that infused that season. So we'll see if we can get into that spirit ourselves.
There are so many questions that we have in our mind. Like earlier today, we did a service for the 4th and 5th graders, and one of the people there said, "Can we have another Purim spiel?" And he had to say, "No, that's next year. Come back and we'll have something." But really, the questions that we have tonight may be more serious, or they may be even funnier than that one. I don't know. Later on during the service, Cantor Nami and I will endeavor to answer some questions that you all might have. And whether you are here in our sanctuary or you are visiting with us online tonight, you will have the opportunity to raise some questions with us. There are some sample questions in tonight's program, which again you can see if you have a hard copy version in the sanctuary, or you can click on a link online and you can see the questions there. But be sure to come and join with the merriment and join with the serious questioning of things that happen. This is a very busy time of the year, and whether it is a question about Shabbat, a question about Purim. That'll wait till next year. A question about Pesach, which is coming up in just 4 weeks or so. Please share your questions, share your curiosity with us. And we begin with a special piece tonight.
Right, and we're going to learn a little bit of it together. We don't always sing in, we don't sing in a lot of Ladino here together in this community. This mixture of medieval Spanish and Hebrew and other languages from the Mediterranean. Though folks may know the songwriter Flori Jagoda for her well-known Hanukkah song, Ocho Candelicas. Flori, unfortunately, passed away a couple of years ago, but she left behind a beautiful legacy of all of her memories from growing up in the Jewish community in Sarajevo. And so she teaches this song about exactly this time of year. Purim lano, Purim is over, Pesach ala mano, Pesach is at hand.
It's page 4, by the way.
In our supplement, thank you. Please, thank you so much. So you'll see a little bit of a paragraph that I gave you all that Flori actually wrote, just her own memory of when the Purim ended. All of the Jewish women of the village would sigh as they contemplated the work that would be involved in preparing for Pesach, etc. So we're going to learn a little bit of this together. The middle parts of each verse, I think choir will help us out with when we get to those, but the first and third part, I think we can all do. So it's Purim, Purim, Purim lano. Can we try that together? Purim, Purim, Purim lano. That's beautiful. It's going to be very similar for Pesach, Pesach. Alamano. It's the same melody, actually. Can we try Pesach? Pesach, Pesach, Alamano. And then we will sing Las masas están faciendo, los yapraquis están cociendo. And then we'll all join together for Aman, 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 Aman. Can we try that together? Just the Amans. Aman, 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 Aman. Which is like a Turkish word that just means like oh my, etc. It's a filler kind of word. And then we'll say, Il Dio bendicho mos da mazal. Il Dio bendicho mos da mazal. Same thing again, Aman. Aman, 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 Aman. Il Dio bendicho mos da mazal. I think we're ready to give it a try. All right, Ted, bring us in.
You know, light was the last of God's creations, and yet light, although it was last, it provided the first humans with warmth, with the ability to see at nighttime, with the ability to share that warmth with one another. And so we begin Shabbat observance by lighting our own candles here, and we thank God for the ability to share light and warmth and beauty with one another. I want to invite you to turn to page 120 in our Sidurim and prepare to read together, to chant together the bracha, thanking God for the light we have in our hearts and our lives. Oops, that's good. Who can look directly into the light? We can behold only a small portion, a fragment of the light. And when that one light is fragmented, the colors of the rainbow result. So let us give thanks for all the colors that are ours. All of them are part of the one light we are all bathed in, the one light that is our fountain of life.
Baruch atah Elohim melech haolam asher nishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehaner lehaner shel
Kabbalat Shabbat begins for us tonight on page 131. We welcome this day with joy, with singing, with the recognition of this new world ahead of us, this world so filled with beauty. Shiru Ladonai.
Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Ladonai, Kol haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Baruch Shemo, Basru Yom Yom Yeshuato. Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Baruch Shemo, Basru Yom Yom Yeshuato. Sapu v'goyim kevodo, v'kol ha'amim le'otam, ki gadol Adonai, u'me'olam me'od, no'am gadol Elohim. Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Adonai, Kol haaretz, Shiru Adonai, Baruch Shemo, Basru Yom Yom Yeshuato. Sapu v'goyim kevodo, v'kol ha'amim le'otam, ki gadol Adonai, u'me'olam me'od, no'am gadol Elohim. Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Adonai, Kol haaretz, Shiru Adonai, Baruch Shemo, Basru Yom Yom Yeshuato. Basru Yom Yom Yeshuato.
Page 138, Lecha Dodi, verses tonight 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Yadadadadai lecha dodi, yadadadadai lecha halam, yadadadadai b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nekam, yadadadadai lecha dodi, yadadadadai lekrat kalam, yadadadadai b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nekam.
Page 140, a psalm for this day, Mizmor Shir.
Mizmor Shir le'yom HaShabbat. Tov le'odot Adonai. Mizmor Shir le'yom HaShabbat. Tov le'odot Adonai. Zamer l'shimcha elyon. Zamer l'shimcha elyon. Tehagiti Adar Adonai.
Be'emunah.
Be'emunatecha v'leot. Tzadik ha'tamar yifrach. Ye'eretz almanon yiseh. Shetulim bebeit Adonai. Bechatzot Eloheinu yafrichu. Onerut b'seva. Leilim ver'ananim yhiyu. Tehagiti Adar Adonai. Surim lo avlat habo.
Part of the reasons that we gather together on Erev Shabbat is to begin this day by offering gratitude to God for all the things in our world. The changing of the seasons, well, not happening quite soon enough for some of us, is a sign of those gifts of creation. And as day mixes into night and as winter transforms into spring, as we emerge from our cold weather cocoons into the light and the beauty of the sunshine, we are continually reminded of God's beneficence. And on this Shabbat evening, again, we offer gratitude to the Creator for the many acts of creation. From the universe and the way we measure time to the gift of Torah and the privilege of human freedom, we rise and thank the source of being in the universe. We invite you to rise for Baruch Hu on page 146.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
On page 149 at the top, we offer this together. Join one another. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows.
El Chai v'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Aravi.
Amen. At the top of 150, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam.
Page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Amen. Please be seated. We continue at the top of 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך, ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
At the top of 157, please join me. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 158.
Lai, 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 lai.
God.
לאדוני את יעקב, גאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
On page 160, Hashkivenu, a prayer thanking God for divine protection. Hashkivenu says to God, "V'taknenu be'etzah tova milfanecha." Perfect us through your counsel in the immediacy of the moment. At least that's how I would translate that word. But aspirations, of course, have to give way to reality. And we know that perfection, even essential change, personal improvement, takes time as well as intention. And yet we also know, as the old saying goes, the start of any journey comes with the first step. And the sooner we embark on this step towards self-improvement, the better we are in the future to strengthen our steps along the way. May we proceed with good partners and with good spirit, and may we find, too, that God is on our side. We have found through hundreds of years of tefillah, that is, through hundreds of years of prayer, that sometimes prayer is only effective if we bring ourselves to the moment. Not necessarily something that a cantor or a rabbi or a choir or even your neighbors can bring to you, to us. That prayer has to start from within. So we ask each of us to dig down inside and see during the entirety of this worship service, or even during these moments of what we now call tefillah, of prayer, to find those yearnings and those desires and that gratitude and those hopes that only are ours, that are unique to us, and to offer them to whatever source of life you understand. We begin with tefillah on page 164. We invite the community to rise.
Friends, I'll just ask y'all to repeat after me, and our friends in the choir will help us out with that. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la.
166.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu ve'imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Ve'konei Hakol Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot Umevi Geula Livnei v'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah
168.
Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai Mechayei hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem Mechalkel chayim bechesed Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim Somech noflim verofei cholim Umatir asurim Umekayem emunato Lishenei afar Michamocha bal gevurot Umido melach Melech memit umechayei Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman atah le'achayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei hakol
Page 170.
Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh U'kdoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
We continue our tefillah silently through page 180, and you can remain standing or you can sit down when you are ready, and we'll meet you at the end in the center of tonight's supplement.
דור ודור. חייב אדם לראות את עצמו כאילו יצא ממצרים.
Shabbat Shalom. Tonight is a night where we invite your questions to go over what we hope to accomplish in the next 10, 15 minutes or so. We would like to invite people. Don't crowd now. If you're in the sanctuary, don't crowd, but we have a microphone right here where you can offer your question, and it's important that you do that so that people online can hear you. You offer your question, and the cantor and I are going to take turns, deferring when expertise is called for, of course, to answer your questions about things that are Jewish. And if you are joining us online live in real time, you have the opportunity to add to the comment section, and Melissa Osborne is going to be taking your questions, or at least letting us know what your questions are. So you should also know, if you are online, that when you type your question in, it's going to take 20 seconds or so for, I think, or no, actually, when you type your question in, you'll see it pretty quickly. So we're pretty much in real time here. So we gave you some kinds of questions that we thought you might be interested in asking on page 6 in the supplement. It's no fair asking these questions, but if you want to modify these questions somehow, you can. So, who will be, I see someone who might be the first. Come and you can stand here, you can crowd around the microphone, but if you'd like to ask a question, come to the mic, and we'll try and take it.
So Rabbi and Cantor, excuse me, Rabbi and Cantor, this is kind of a personal, spiritual type of question. And so you work hard to help us feel spirituality in the services and other experiences. And I have 2 questions. What in your day-to-day, weekly, or yearly lives helps you feel most spiritual, maybe helping feel the presence of God? And Abraham Joshua Heschel has written about these transformational experiences of God, and I'm wondering if either of you have ever had anything close to that.
Want to go first? Since there's 2 questions, each of us can take one or different one.
Sure. Okay if I answered the second one then?
Please.
So speaking about transformational experiences of the divine, because I think that sometimes we can get caught up on the word God. I would say, like many, I find that some of those easy access moments to feeling that sense of awe or connection can be found in, certainly out in nature, and in especially in places that are particularly striking or beautiful. I recall once like leading worship in one of the wadis in the Negev in Israel, and feeling just very surrounded by like that idea of like, there's a phrase from the Psalms that the whole earth is filled with God's glory, and that I really felt in that moment. But I don't necessarily think that we always have to find it in those kinds of moments of awe and grandeur. There can be the very intimate moments with those that we love most dearly, where I can also say that I have found that profound sense of the divine's presence. And frankly, also when I am standing as a witness to some of those moments that that families and congregants and those that I serve bless me by sharing with me. I won't go into specific details because some of those are, but I'm happy to speak more in detail about some specific examples at another time.
I think for me, when I work with people who are new to Judaism or who are coming to Judaism, and they might have studied with me, or they might have studied with a colleague of mine, and they might have attended a service where I've officiated, or they've been here for some other program. And they will come up to me and they say, Rabbi, about 5 years ago, you said this, whatever it was. And I was so moved by it. And I just wanted you to know that. 9 times out of 10, I don't remember a thing about what I might have said. But the fact that someone heard something from this pulpit, or maybe from me, or from my colleague, or the fact that this person had an experience in their life that moved them, that's something that, for me, is a transformational experience. Because that means that humanity has a chance, and that people listen, and that people are open. Not everybody all the time, but that people are open. Anybody online yet? Okay. Ellen, come on down.
Hello. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I was wondering if you guys could talk about how you conceptualize God and what led you to that framework.
You have 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
I know.
20
Small
minutes, an
question.
hour? Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you.
Want to go? Do you want to?
I'll go.
Okay.
So, Ellen, for the sake of time, one of us is going to answer, and the next person will answer the next question. So if you want to come up and ask the question again,
Yeah,
I'm sure the cantor would be. So I think I would probably be partially a Buberian when it comes to understanding God, and partially Kaplan. And I say that because on the one hand, I think that some of my most other transformational experiences is when I'm in an intimate moment with someone. And it could be with my wife, it could be with a child, my child, it could be with someone with whom I've had an intimate moment or an intimate relationship. And according to Martin Buber, God exists in that moment. God doesn't exist in a transcendental way at that time, but God is immanent right here, right now. And God is helping to create the building blocks for improving and sustaining and strengthening that relationship. And when it comes to Kaplan, Mordecai Kaplan, I believe that he spoke about God as being a force for good in the universe and the conscience within. And so I think that those are the things that move me and that I sort of envision God doing. Unlike our biblical ancestors or other ancients even before the Bible, I'm not sure that God, wove the world and still weaves it and still controls it. God might have formed this world, but I think that God left the world to us, and that whatever we make of the world, that's what the world is going to be. Go ahead.
For the sake of time, I want to make sure that we have time for other questions.
Please, other questions. Come on down. You don't have to raise your hand. You can just come on down. It can be, again, simpler questions. It could be harder questions.
I mean, if you want.
Anybody online?
Not yet, but
Okay.
I might have one I can add.
All right.
A simpler question.
Okay.
Matzo balls. Sinkers or floaters, which is more official?
Discuss.
Okay, I'm going to question the question, because which is more official is not really how I would frame it. We could get into machloket over that potentially. I'll say, preference is preference, and I'm in a position of never ever yucking somebody's yum. So I personally prefer floaters, but that's just my own personal preference.
But you're a cook, right? Did you make matzo balls?
I do.
That you are. See? He knows.
I don't know if this is on.
It might be, and if not,
It's more convenient to
Oh,
me.
what? Go ahead, Patricia. While we get the sound straightened out, but go ahead.
I've had a really hard day. That followed a hard week, that followed a hard month, and right now I don't feel too Jewish. And I came here tonight thinking, God, why did that client have to do that? And do I really have to confront him on Monday? And why the hell did Starbucks have to close 2 minutes early? I get the police officers Starbucks, and they close 2 minutes early. And I don't, what do you do when you don't have the thing inside you that makes your life Jewish? when you feel good, when you look forward to coming to temple. And I thought, well, when you don't look forward to coming to temple, that's when you go to temple. So maybe I answered my own question.
I think you might have. You know, they say that about meditation too, that exactly that when you feel you don't have time to meditate is exactly when you need to make time to do it. So I feel like there might be a correlation there too, that exactly in that moment where you feel like you are not feeling connected is to put yourself into that environment.
Make yourself connected. You brought yourself here, and you were sitting in the sanctuary, in the foyer beforehand, and you were communicating. You were with people, and that's what you do. You bring yourself back to the world of humanity. Sometimes it's a slog, but you have to bring yourself back and say, despite the disappointments, and despite the fact that Starbucks closed early, and despite the fact that your client gave you a rough weekday today, month. Despite those things, because humans are sometimes that way, there are many other humans who will give you love and who give you what you need, and you come and you seek it. You have to actively seek it. That is a hard step. And for those people for whom it's even a harder step, I mean, I can't say that for people in this sanctuary because you are all here tonight. But I think that that's the hard step, is to turn it around. And that's a human talent, a human skill that is replicable and that is learned and that you just have to do it, even when you're feeling so bad.
Okay, therefore, what is your beverage of choice?
That's your question. Friends,
I'm leading Torah study tomorrow morning, and for those who don't know, Patricia has a practice of bringing a hot beverage for whoever is facilitating Torah study. Let's chat
Cold in summer. Cold in summer.
Let's chat at the Oneg. I've got it for you. We'll chat at the Oneg. And I would only add, and friends, I wrote a bulletin article that will be coming out right before Pesach that speaks a little bit about this idea that we can't always be in the promised land, right? There are inevitable moments where we're going to find ourselves in a place of narrowness. Or in the Hasidic teaching that I referenced in that article, which folks can read when it comes out, in the pit, right? There's all these moments where we fall down into the pit, and the question is, what is the ladder that we are carrying? Right? What is the thing that is going to help us be able to climb out? And do we have the awareness of what the ladder is? And can we work on cultivating that? And by bringing yourself here, you gave yourself a ladder.
And just for the record, I am not a plant for his next article.
Okay. Jennifer, we're going to ask you to come to the microphone, please.
I just wanted to make a comment to Patricia.
I had a thought too.
I just wanted to say thank you, Patricia, for participating.
But we have come to the microphone.
Yeah.
Come
Well,
to the
I think
microphone.
people can hear me.
We're online.
Oh, okay.
If you need to make a comment, come to the microphone, please.
Worst case scenario we could do.
I just wanted to say to Patricia, to thank you so much for participating in the Purim spiel. And talk about not feeling Jewish. That was a time you really shined and felt Jewish and brought a lot of happiness to the people who were in the room. So thank you, Patricia.
All right, Jennifer.
And those of us who really enjoy coffee drinks, applaud you and what you do. A little tiny question for the cantor. What's your favorite color? That one?
Purple. Purples tend to be, yes.
Excellent. And a slightly larger and slightly personal question for you, Rabbi, sorry. Many years ago, when I went on a trip to Israel with you, I think it was your first trip with Bethel?
Could be.
I think so. I have many pictures of you looking very silly. But many years ago, you commented to me while we were sitting together on the bus that someday, if you had a chance, you might like to move to Israel and conduct walking tours and tours of places in the various cities and things like that. I know that you're, 20-something years on now or something like that. Are you still thinking about that for your life, or is that maybe something that's going to go into the pocket of dreams unrealized?
I'm not sure how unrealized that will be. I mean, the fact that a group of now 24, at least, people are traveling with us to Israel coming June, that we have yet another opportunity. The cantor and I are leading a tour, and we'll have ample opportunity to try out those kinds of talents and skills. And I'm not sure about living in Israel because, you know, I don't know what the future of me and my family will be, and so I go with my family. And so my family has what to say about, you know, where we live our lives together. But I know that when we get to Israel, whether it's this coming June and or many other times, you know, I think that those walking tours will be there for me to give, whether it's formal by and watched over by the Ministry of Tourism, or whether it's informal and it is. Let me show you a secret little place that I know about in the old city of Jerusalem that's really special. One of those times, I mean, in this past November, I was in Israel for a 200-mile bike ride. So I got to know a different part of Israel at that time, and who knows what that may yield in the future.
Good answer.
Thank you.
Also, you gave us,
Yeah, come on to the microphone. We really want people at home to...
It's a good accessibility exercise, right?
Yeah.
So you gave us that virtual tour online.
And the virtual tour online.
Yeah, so that was already, I think you're pretty much a tour guide at this point, just the amount of, it was very informative though. I think it'd be very good at it. I felt like I was there, even though it was, you know, just your voice and pictures. So.
Thanks.
Any other lingering?
No.
questions?
Our online congregation is silent. That's fine.
I have a question. Please.
Probably our last. This is our last, by the way.
No pressure.
Thank you. No pressure, and I don't know how I'm going to phrase it, but I've always been connected to renewal, Salman Shakhtar, and just visited with my 93-year-old friend in Milwaukee who took over for Zalman. I don't know what that's called, but
Discipleship, maybe.
yeah. And so I wonder how we're going to incorporate, if we can incorporate that in Reform Judaism. And I'm proud to be a Reform Jew, although I was brought up Sephardi. So
I think I can take that one.
We probably both can.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
For those who don't know, Renewal Judaism is what we might call a neo-Hasidic movement, but I would say the neo is a very important component of that. It was a break off from the Chabad branch of Hasidism, circa 60s, 70s, thereabouts.
Yeah.
Thereabouts.
Mid-60s, yeah.
Drawing upon the spiritual teachings of Hasidism, but also being open to other spiritual practices being applied within a Jewish framework. As far as how those kinds of practices can be incorporated into a reform environment, there are a number of communities that engage with what we might call neo-Hasidic ideas of a variety of flavors, not just renewal, but others. There's a wonderful organization that I'm currently doing a program with called the Institute for Jewish Spirituality that one could certainly consider to be in a similar vein of drawing upon spiritual teachings from our tradition, but also being open to other spiritual traditions as a way of forming a mindful but really integrated and connected form of Jewish spiritual practice. Are there opportunities that can be brought into our community life here? Possibly. There's all kinds of ways of doing, for example, meditation as Jewish practice, of bringing mindful components to the prayers that we engage with one another, of combining a mindful approach to eating with the blessing that we say over the food that we eat, and on and on and on, of chant as a Jewish mindful practice. So all kinds of things that are possible.
In our community, we have a very large number of people with varied interests. And whether we have people who are interested in that particular expression, I think, too, that Reform Judaism will always have a grounding in the real world and social justice in that real world. Not that this is not a real world, but both you have to balance, right? You have to offer people the opportunity of growing from within and really adapting certain practices, mindfulness, which allows them to understand what their view of the world is going to become, and then apply those teachings to the outside world. Judaism, in my view, is not simply something that one grows from, but we have to apply the principles of Judaism in order to make the world a better place. I think we can take lessons from our Israeli cousins these days who are demonstrating for their democracy and demonstrating for their land, not simply because they are maybe liberal or because they are small d democratic thinking. It's because those values of equality stem from Jewish practice and Jewish understanding of law and Jewish understanding of our history and historical experience. So we have to be in both places. And I think a lot of people have to be in both places so that we can speak strongly from tradition and so that we can go out into the world to improve it. And I think we had a question online.
We do. This question asks, I have a friend who asked me to join a Bible study. I explained to her that I don't believe in Jesus like she does. I'm Jewish. It was like I spoke a foreign language. She didn't get it. How do I get it across to her?
So I'll take it. Yeah, sure. So I think matters of faith and matters of belief are really unique to each religious community's expression. One can be a Christian and really integrate so many lessons of both spirituality and lessons of doing unto others as you would have them do unto you. I'm not knowledgeable that much about Christianity, but I do have a sense that that's part of the words that Jesus expressed in the New Testament. That discounts in no way, of course, our beliefs. And we might believe something about our prophets, too, that to that other person may have no sense whatsoever. But I think that what we have to do is to give each religion its due up until the place where it might impact upon a different people. And at that point, we have to say, active proselytization may be something that you believe in, but it's not something that's appropriate to do for us. And we're not interested. Or we simply say, you may believe what you believe, and that will place you in a certain location after you die, perhaps, or that will be spiritually meaningful to you. And I have my own experiences that are spiritually meaning to me. Each of these experiences is based upon and grounded in texts and grounded in tradition. And so we understand that there are differences between and among people. But rather than being a cause for friction, let them be a cause for inquisitiveness and celebration, that each person can find improvement and redemption, whatever that means. Each person can find improvement and redemption and joy in their own particular religious tradition. Let them be shared and let them be respected all over.
I would only maybe add one small addendum to that as well, that we'll always, especially those of us who are in some kind of minority capacity, we're always going to encounter somebody who's not necessarily familiar with our experience. It's an inevitability. And when those kinds of situations arise, you have a choice. You have the opportunity, exactly as Rabbi said, to be a kind and compassionate educator. That, of course, depends upon your relationship with that person. If it's somebody that you feel that you actually want to take that opportunity with.
It also depends, if I may, upon your level of comfort with relating that information.
Exactly. So all of these are in choice. But there is certainly the opportunity that's present, but also one should never feel like you have to be the educator in a situation if you're not comfortable doing so. And so,
I want to put a plug in for a particular program that is going to be sponsored. If one has happened. I think the first one was last night. Interfaith Intersections, which is a program that is being put on by the Wisconsin Faith Voices for Justice. There was a program last night, and there's a program later on in May that is taking place. Actually, the one in May will be here at Temple Beth El, where people of different faith backgrounds will get together. And these are lay people, not clergy. These will be lay people, and they'll get together and they will share. They'll ask a question of spiritual or religious import. And there will be lay people who will answer the questions, and it will be interesting to see. I don't have a report. I don't know what happened last night. I think it was probably online because of the snow. But look for that. I can answer more, individually when people have other questions. Anything else online? Thank you for asking your question online, and for you who asked questions here. Coming to the microphone is anxiety-producing enough, and we're glad that you asked your questions, which can also prove to be difficult sometimes. We want to invite the congregation to turn to page 371 as we offer now a prayer of healing. There are people who need our prayers, and not because they are trying to affect the power of God to affect the healing, but because they need to know that they have the support of a loving community, such as this one and others who offer prayers of healing on a regular basis. We have around 80 people in our Temple Beth El healing list, and now you have the opportunity, you who are with us here in the community, in the temple tonight, to add your loved ones and your friends' names to this healing list, because we would like to offer prayers on their behalf. So we thank God for the opportunity to be with our family members and friends, even at times of pain and even at times of difficulty, because the humanity that we have the opportunity to share could very well be that antidote, could very well be that push, that elevation that person needs in order to reverse their own illness and to bring about a healing. Who are the people that you know about, whose names you would offer here, that we need to be considering tonight and thinking about? Please.
Andy Johnston, Leslie Grant.
Leslie Grant.
Beatrice Aguilar.
Harav Miriam Bat David Anat.
Albert Serio.
People have been affected by this crazy weather pattern all over the country.
Dear God, aloud and in our hearts, we name those facing illness and pain. We join our prayers to the prayers of all who love them. 371 at the middle of the
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage
Our service continues on page 586 with Aleinu. Page 586, we invite the community to rise. May be seated. Let's read together at the top of page 591. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Love each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may the memory of the righteous always be a blessing. At this moment in our worship, we pause and remember those who are no longer part of our world, but whose reality and spirit still lives on in our hearts. People who, connected to our community, died in the last 30 days, and those whose Yartzeiten occur at this time. If you are here tonight observing a Yartzeit, or if you are in mourning, we invite you to rise as the name of your loved one is recited, and then you'll be joined by the whole community as we offer the mourner's Kaddish. These are those whom we've taken into our hearts with our own. Again, the people who died recently, we are remembering tonight Maxine Frank, grandmother of Kate Dwyer Nunez, and great-grandmother of Henry Theodore and Lila Dwyer Nunez, and a beloved member of this community, Sandy Nessel, wife of Julie Nessel. And these are the Yartzeiten we observe at this time in continuing dedication to their memories. We remember Bruce Zvi Abramson, Leon Applebaum, Reba Brager, Pete Brem, David G. Bress, Alan Berman, Morris Jules Koff, Max H. Feingold, Morris Feldman, May Goose Fisher, Wes Foreman, Jessica Foreman, Stanley Friedman, Arthur Friedman, Debbie Giesfeld, Herbert Leon Gronick, Ray A. Hubbard, Marilyn Jacobs, Morris Kahn, Martin Kalb, Rose Kaplan, Dr. Robert Samuel Klugman, Sadie Kramer, Kent Manis, Hyman Edward Orenberg, Esther Alice Paler, Arnold Patz, Harold Bernhard Pollock, Joanne Roginski, Selma Ziegler Sachs, Barbara Fish Saltzman, Andrew Mark Schauer, Aaron Scher, Edward Schindler, George Siegel, Jean Silverberg, John E. Siniko, Abraham Steinpress, Monty S. Sweet, Sam Ullman, Elsie Wallach, and in addition to others whom we are remembering tonight, we also remember the now more than 50,000 victims of the earthquake in Turkey and Syria. There may be other members of this worship community tonight who similarly are remembering loved ones, and if you would like to add someone's name to this memorial list, we invite you to do so.
Rabbi Abram Fossen Goodman, Dr. Paula Gilbert.
Maurice Goodall, Gerald Hutchinson.
Others we should be remembering tonight? Zichronam livracha, may their memories be blessings. In consideration of all that they do for us and all that they did for us, we ask the community, we invite the community to turn to page 598, and together we rise and recite the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Please join one another. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha v'richu. Le'ela min kol bir chata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran ve'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. May God indeed send peace to those who mourn and comfort to those who are bereaved, and we say, Amen. Please be seated. We have to do a few things before we conclude our service tonight, and when we do, we are invited to the Weinstein Community Court, where we'll share a Oneg Shabbat, sponsored tonight by our Temple Bethel Sisterhood, the Women of Reformed Judaism, most of whom probably are down in Itasca, Illinois tonight, because there is a district convention this weekend of our sisterhood, and if you are here, if you're there, happen to be tuning in a little bit, we congratulate especially the people who are taking special honors at this time. We congratulate Amy Fields, who is being awarded the Sisterhood Woman of Valor Award, Leslie Kemp, who is becoming an area director of the new Women of Reformed Judaism Heartland District, and especially to Roseanne Anderson, who is now assuming the new office of president of this new district, of the Women of Reformed Judaism Heartland District. The cantor and I will be there tomorrow night in helping to install Roseanne as the president of this district, and maybe other people will be there tonight, I don't know. Maybe other people are already there. So we wish congratulations to these three important members of our community who now are undertaking these important roles for this new district. Thank you to our building staff, and thank you especially to Melissa Osborne, who has monitored our YouTube channel tonight and watched for questions and had a great question come in. And thank you online for your question and your courage to bring that question to us. Very important. A few important things to know about. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, it will be Torah study here at Bethel, led by Cantor Nami. You can catch that here live at 9 o'clock or online as well. Tomorrow morning at 10:30, Megan Sullivan, the daughter of Ilana and Sean Sullivan, will come to our bima as a bat mitzvah. Please join us for that as well. Tomorrow evening at 7:30, Madison Jews Next Door are having a post-Purim costume party. It's Purim still somewhere, thank goodness. So if you're part of the MJND crowd, please put on a costume and get information about where that party is being held. I guess they have a Facebook page, and we might even have information on our website. So next Friday evening, we are going to be having not only Shabbat Midor Lador, our musical service at 7:30, but before that, we're having a youth group from Temple or Congregation Shalom in Milwaukee. They're coming here to mix with our teens at 6:15, probably more pizza. So, excellent. So please join us for that. And next Saturday morning, we have Torah study led by Steve Olson. Also, just so you know, next Saturday morning, there will not be a 10:30 a.m. Tfilat Shabbat service. We're not going to have that in the month of March. So that's not happening, but we will have the 6th grade group will meet here. The 6th grade class will meet here, and they get to ask us questions too. So what can you do? Any other announcements that need to be made tonight? Yes, Patty. A question, another question.
Is drag queen brunch at 9:30 p.m. or 9:30 a.m.?
I'm assuming
a.m.
It's brunch, so I'm assuming a.m.
It says p.m. That it might be a typographical error. For those of you who are interested, on Sunday, March 19th at 9:30 a.m., so there will be the drag queen brunch bingo and drag education. So please come, have a fun brunch with us, and learn something about perhaps members of our community who we may not know much about. It's actually a very serious and important art form and discussion that it's important for us to know about. Thank you
And just
for pointing that out. And what?
Just for the record, run by the Environmental Committee, that Joel Peterson Memorial Lecture is also at 9:30 a.m., not p.m. at night.
You know, yeah, I think that's true. Okay. The Joel Peterson lecture will be at 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah, not nearing midnight there.
When in doubt, check the event on the calendar on the temple website.
Right. You know, like carpets that are made in certain countries in the world, they are made intentionally within the state because the artisan wants us to know that only God is perfect and only God can create something that is flawless, despite the fact that God created humanity. So we want to invite you to turn to page 123 in the prayer book. Oh, this is interesting. So, on page 123 is the Kiddush for this Erev Shabbat. Please join the cantor as he leads us in the Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei beri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehillah le'mikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'chata v'otanu kidasha mikohanim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat L'chaim. In the Talmudic tractate of Brachot, the rabbinic masters raise this question. We pray, we know what we pray, but what does God pray? And Rav, one of the masters, says this would be God's prayer. May it be my will that my mercy will overcome my anger, that my sense of mercy prevail over my other attributes, that I conduct myself toward my creations with that attribute of mercy, and that, for their sake, I endow them with mercy beyond what they deserve. May we benefit from God's mercy at all times. May we ourselves offer mercy and kindness to those around us. And may we find in all our dwellings the blessings of peace. Amen. We turn back for our closing song, returning to Pesach Alamano, back on page 4 in our supplement. And as we do so, I want to just also extend my gratitude to the members of our choir and to Ted Reinke, who helped to elevate and beautify our worship experience this evening.
Amen.
And to Flori, who, again, the Bosnians say, the old Ladino saying that if Bosnia is bread, Jews are neither flour nor water, but they are the salt. That Jagoda was somebody who added a lot of her own special spice with her stories, with her music, with her voice, and just that very sensory kind of experience. So we'll offer Purim and Pesach a la mano.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Did we finally get it?
Oh, look, you're right.
Jennifer's
That's good. That's good one. That's a good one.
Friends.